Hi, and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is the show where we demystify technology that you use every day, that you maybe smartphones or computers or networks. And in today's case, we're looking at network security, wireless network security.
Yes, a topic that we have in fact done before.
Actually we have. If you go way, way back in the Wayback Machine to labrats.tv, you'll see an episode that we did, episode number 1, where we show you how to secure your wireless router. It's actually a topic we got asked about a lot. So let's have a quick look at that just to see what we used to look like. So the idea being that when you get your wireless router out of the box and you plug it in and suddenly you're connected and you can share your printer, you can share your broadband, all of those cool things. You're not protected, are you?
You're not very protected at all. It's actually like a wide open window into your house.
That's a bit scary.
Yeah.
I'm a bit thinner. You're a bit younger. And what's with the brown couch?
I don't know. I think we were trying to be Dignation or something.
I know, exactly. All right, well, look how far we've come. So anyway, today on the show, we're going to update that episode number 1, and show you what exactly is WPA, how to secure your wireless router so that you don't get people coming and connecting to your router and using your bandwidth and that sort of thing. So that's today on Lab Rats. So stay with us and we'll get to that right after this. This episode brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 25% off today by visiting hover.com/labrats. I'm still laughing at that that clip. It's wow. I'm speechless.
It wasn't that long ago, really, in our lives, but
That's true. Seems like a long time
it does
ago.
seem like a long time ago.
Anyway, so let's get started. So wireless networking, of course, has been voodoo over the years. I remember when the first wireless networks came out, you kind of needed a PhD in networking really to figure them out. And in the end, it was one of those things where you kind of took the manual, you kind of hope for the best, you called your geek friends, you called their geekiest of the geek friends to really kind of figure it out, right?
Yeah, networking in general was a huge pain for many, many, many years. And just as soon as they made wired networking a little bit easier, they made unwired networking really hard. So.
And I have some news for you guys. It's still a pain in the butt. It really is.
It can be.
It can be.
It's easier than it used to be.
Until you watch this episode of Lab Rats, and then you'll learn about it, right?
Yes.
So let's just start with the basics. What exactly is a wireless network? Why would we put one in our homes?
Well, one of the main reasons you'd want to put a wireless network in your home is sitting on the desk right in front of us, right here. So a lot of people these days are moving from the good old desktop computer, the big clunky box, to notebook computers. They're using them as their main machines. And one of the nice things is you don't have to be tethered to a desk to use one of these. You can actually go all around the house. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, we've got things like gaming consoles like the Wii, the Xbox 360. All of those use wireless networking to transfer data to and from the internet. Mm-hmm. And we've got things like the Apple TV, other media sharing and streaming devices that fit around different places in the house that basically transmit data all around. Right. So now if you did this via wires like this, you'd have wires all over the house. And you remember like your old lawnmower with the electric cord, how you'd have to drag that cord all around the yard? Well, just imagine this everywhere in your house.
For those of you who are married, trust me, I've had girlfriends and now I have a wife who will not let me run a network cable anywhere near her decor.
Yeah,
so
it looks ugly.
It does. And fair enough, it does look ugly, doesn't it?
Yes. So what wireless networking does is it cuts those cords. You don't need them. It actually uses a radio antenna inside the router, and it's a transceiver in both sides, a transmitter and receiver, and it basically sets up a connection between the two via a radio signal and starts sending data back and forth. Right. Without wires.
Right. So to get started, what you really need is something called a router, or a home network router. We have one from Linksys right here. As you can tell, this guy doesn't have any antennas because it's actually built internally. Yes. Some of them have, they're like the pencil-like antennas that stick up like that. You may have one of those. They run about between $100 and $200 depending on the newer ones, especially with the high-speed 802.11n technology. In the $100 to $150 range, somewhere in there. Yeah. You can get them for under $80 or $70 these days as well for the older technology.
Yeah, if you're getting G, you can get them as cheap as $40. I mean, there's really cheap models out there. Not necessarily the most reliable ones, but you can get them.
You can get them. So your internet connection is going to come in through your house. Through a wire, either from your cable operator or for your telephone company, or maybe a satellite company, and that's normally where you plug your computer in. But in this particular case, you're going to actually attach this device here to your broadband provider, and it's going to actually receive and send signals to the internet on your behalf. So that needs to be installed, and I don't think we'll go through that today, but because I really want to get to is, how do you secure this? How do you make this safe from anybody intercepting that wireless signal between your laptop and it to use your internet connection without your permission, for example?
Yeah, and we don't necessarily need to go through that at this point either, because when you get one of these routers, generally there's a software package that you can install that will actually step you through the process, what you need to do. Put this wire here, then put this other one here. So it's a lot easier than it used to be.
Absolutely. But the question we get most from people that ask us is, how do I make it secure? How do I stop people from breaking into my network with their laptops? Theoretically, people can drive up and sit on the street outside with their laptop, tune into your wireless network, and use your network whichever way that they want. They could actually even hack into the thing and mess with it if they wanted to. Most people are just surfing on your dime, that's all.
Yeah, that's the one, that's the easy, the safe thing that people can be doing. It'll use up some of your bandwidth, potentially. Maybe they'll do something naughty like download a movie or something like that, but the worst case scenario is hacking the router itself, but hacking the other machines as well, because once they're on your network, they can see the other machines that you have on your network. So securing it definitely is key here.
Right. Now, in episode 1, we showed you how to use 2 technologies. Actually, I think it was just one, or maybe we talked about the forthcoming WEP, which is WEP, which is an older technology that actually showed up as not being so bulletproof after all. When it was invented, people thought it was going to be secure, and within I don't know how many months of it being released, people were hacking it.
Yeah, the funny thing about it is WEP stood for Wired Equivalent Protocol, and it wasn't equivalent to a wire because you could get into it very easily. It was meant to be like a wire is about as secure as you can get. It's like here to here, it's enclosed. But this one not so good.
Wired equivalent privacy, actually.
Yeah,
WEP.
privacy.
Right. So it turned out it was not particularly secure, and so especially businesses really like to use these wireless networks. So a new technology was engineered called WPA. And that's what we're going to show you today: how to set up a WPA secured connection, which is Wi-Fi protected access.
Yes.
So should we just get to it?
Let's just get straight into it.
So you're going to have to drill into your router initially to do this setup. There are some technologies that will allow you to do automatic setup, and I think you'll probably talk a bit about that towards the end of the segment. But just for the geeks out there who just want to get into the router, stop messing around, you're going to want to plug I'm going to flip this over here. You're going to want to plug a network cable into the back here into one of these blue connections here, and you're going to plug the other end directly into the Ethernet port on your computer or your laptop.
Yeah, not the USB. It doesn't work so good that way.
No, this is the best way to do it. So, and I'm going to just turn my wireless connection off for a second here while I do this. So now I'm going to fire up my web browser, and once I get my web browser up and going, we're actually going to dial the IP address, the local IP address of the router itself, so that we can get into it and actually talk directly to the router itself. Now, the router actually has something called a web browser, a web server in it. So it's actually talking to your web browser as if it's actually a website.
Yes.
It's just local to you, that's all. So let's see here. I'm just going to go to Mozilla here. I'm going to type 192.168.1.1. Now this is an IP address that's unique to the Linksys router. And if you have a D-Link router, it's going to be 192.168.0.1. Or some of the other brands have different IP addresses. Usually going to be 192.168.something.1. So and maybe we'll put up a link in the show notes with the different IP addresses you can expect from your brand of the router. But you will see that information in your manual, the IP address to get into it. So as you can see here, I just dialed this up. I'm going to type in the default user ID and password, which in the case of Linksys, this particular model is admin. The password is admin. Do that. I'm going to click OK. And there we go. Now we've punched directly into the router. So we're now talking directly to the router between the web browser and the router itself. And this is a fairly familiar interface. If anybody's ever owned a Linksys router before, it hasn't changed over the years at all. So a couple things we want to do first off. First, we want to change some basic settings. So we want to click on the wireless link here, and we want to go to the network name, or SSID. Right? Now Linksys, I've already changed it here, but Linksys, it's usually called just Linksys.
Yep.
And this is the when you look up a wireless network, when you scan for wireless networks, you're going to look for the names of the networks, and this is what's going to show up. So you want to change this. We're going to change it to, what do you want to change it to, Sean?
Let's just change it to lab rats.
Lab rats.
Now, when you're choosing these things, number one, you want to change it away from Linksys. Don't stay with that, because then people will know what type of router it is, and that makes it easier to hack.
It's true, yeah.
Second of all, when you're choosing a wireless router name, I always suggest choose something that you know is yours, but that doesn't identify either location of it or you personally. So don't put like 123 Credibility Terrace, because then people not only know where the router is located, they know where the computers are located.
That's right, yeah.
So
that's actually a good point. So somebody could come in your neighborhood, go, oh, this router's at this address, it's got a Reddit router, it must have computers.
Yeah.
Let's break in.
Not that people couldn't actually use a little sniffer to find out where the signals were, but don't make it any easier for them than you need to.
So now we've changed that, and so that's a good point towards security. Next, we're going to actually invoke WPA. So I'm going to go over here to wireless security again, and I am going to, you can see there's a security mode pull down here. Now you can see all the different options, right, John, of all the different types of security that are available on these routers. WEP, of course, that's the old-fashioned one, right? WPA Personal, a first generation of WPA, not as secure as the new generation WPA2, which became a standard after a while. And it's WPA2 Personal. Now you may see this on your router as WPA2 PSK. Just means PSK. It's the personal version of this designed for home usage. There are WPA Enterprise and WPA2 Enterprise as well. And again, that's a whole different technology for network administrators at companies to use. So you want to choose WPA2 Personal. And leave all the defaults as is. Don't mess with them. Whatever it suggests, just leave it. In this case, it says TKIP or AIS. That's the encryption type. Leave it as is. And then you want to type not a password, but a passphrase, right? So a passphrase is a sentence, like Sean's haircut is nice, or Andy is a nice guy.
Yeah, whatever is easy to remember but hard to guess with a few things. So the longer the better. Use all the punctuation, capitalized letters, just everything that you would normally do in a sentence.
That's right. So I'm going to type hello world, except that I'm going to obscure it a bit by changing the E to 3. LLO space W0RLD, right? So hello world, right? With a space, and you can see that right there. And I'm just going to click Save Settings. Now you'll notice after you change the SSID or the network name, and after you do this, the router will automatically restart because it needs to reset itself. So I'm going to click on Save Settings here, you'll see it restart. And I'm going to click Continue.
Yeah, because up until this point it's been running, transmitting data in the open without any special settings put onto it. It needs to reboot and load those settings up now.
That's right. It's sort of like restarting software, onboard software.
Yeah, and you said a key word earlier when you were describing WPA, and that's encryption. So now what it's doing in this whole process is it's taking every bit of data that you send. It sends in packets back and forth. Here's a bit, here's a bit, here's a bit, and it receives a bit more from you. And what it's doing now is it's wrapping these in a bit of encryption. So it's using a code, essentially. You know the old decoder wheel? It's essentially scrambling all of that data back in a way that is now agreed to by the computer and the router, so it knows how to decode it on either end. Encode and decode.
Very good. Okay. So it's restarted now, and I've actually disconnected my cable here, as you can see, and I'm going to go wireless now. So I'm going to go into I'm running Windows Vista here. Windows XP and the forthcoming Windows 7 you want to go down to look at your wireless icon down here, right click and say connect to a network, and then you want to make sure that your wireless connector is turned on.
Yes.
And then basically, if you're in a busy area, you're going to see lots of different access points. So I'm going to want to scroll down here and look for, I created lab-rats. And it says security enabled network, right?
Yeah. That's another good reason why you need to have a really well-named router so that you can pick it out of all of the rubble. If you're in like a gigantic apartment complex and you've got 16 neighbors around you, you want a good one.
And most people don't really change the default, so you can have 10 Linksys, they've all but Linksys routers.
One tip is choose something at the beginning of the alphabet and it'll pop up to the top of the list,
potentially.
potentially.
That's a good idea. Or an underscore, right?
Or an underscore.
Okay, so I've connected to lab-rats as a router name. Windows Vista said, well, wait a second, this is a security, this is a secure router, and so you need to type the passphrase. And as you can see right here, it says type the network security key or passphrase for lab-rats. I'm going to turn display characters on so you can see what I type, because I'm just going to replicate what I set up before. So it's H3LLO space W0RLD. Hello world.
Yes, and typically you'll want to have something that's a little bit longer than that.
Right.
We're just trying not to type an entire sentence for you right now,
Yeah.
which would be kind of boring TV.
It says successfully connected to LabRats, so I'm going to click close now, and now I can just surf as normal, assuming that my router is now properly connected to the internet. But I certainly, wirelessly now, I'm not connected with any wires, and I can go back to the wireless setup and get into the router, and bingo.
Change additional settings.
Off I go. So now everything that's sent between this and that is now scrambled. Everything, the traffic between it is scrambled through the air. You can't see it, it's invisible, but it uses that decoder ring technology you mentioned before.
So that people that are listening in are just seeing a bunch of gibberish. Now it works roughly the same way on the Mac. Once you've got this configured, you can go into it in exactly the same way and configure it. Up at the top, you've got the little wireless icon, and we see down here we've got LabRats. So we'll go down to it. You see the little lock beside it saying that it's locked, it's secured. Oh, one just showed up there. So we click on that and it says the network lab-rats requires a WPA password, so we'll type in the same one. And kapow, it should hopefully connect to the network.
Now you should remember, like, write this thing down, because if your auntie comes over with her computer and wants to connect, then you need to give her exactly the passphrase, because everybody's going to use the same passphrase to access this router.
Yeah, there we go. So now we have a connection here, and we have no connection to the outside world because it's not plugged into that, but I can now go into 192.168.1.1, and it'll give me the same thing. And in we go. So now I'm also in the setup as well.
Very good. Okay. So, I mean, that's all there is to it, right? So for the most part, there is some technical things you have to walk through here. And I will remind you, too, that all routers are slightly different in their interface. You want to go look for the wireless settings in your router if you're using a D-Link or a Belkin device or any one of those devices. So, you know, every one's going to look slightly different. But if you punch around in the menus, you're going to eventually find these settings. SSID is usually the name of the network, and it's your security settings, or you want to look for WPA2 PSK as the security technology you're going to be using.
All right. Okay. So there's a couple things here. Now we've just gone through this the hard way. When you get your router, you often get a software package here. This is Linksys right here. And what this software does is it'll step you through roughly the same sort of process. It'll ask you how you want to configure the router, what password you want to use. It'll ask you to change the password on the router itself, which is a good thing to do as well. So you can go through it this way. This going in through the back door and using the manual configuration is something you can do at any time without the software. During your initial setup, feel free to use the CD if you're using a computer that's compatible with it. Also, there's a few things, especially on this Linksys router and Buffalo routers. They have these special features now where you can actually do this with one touch. So on Linksys, it's called Wi-Fi protected setup. And you'll notice on the front here, there's a little button with a little arrows pointing towards each other. So if you want to configure this setup, you can do this again manually, or you can do it using the software. It'll say, okay, press the button now, and then press it here. So, and right here, we've got this right here that says if your client device has Wi-Fi protected setup button, click or press that button, then click the button on the right. So we click here, then click over here on the software, and it'll automatically create that connection all secured. With Linksys, it's called Wi-Fi protected setup. On Buffalo, it's called AOSS. That's also a feature that's available on the Wii. So you can actually connect to your Wii directly to a Buffalo by clicking the buttons, and in you go.
Buffalo's a router company as well, like Linksys, correct? Okay, very good. What about like D-Link and Netgear and those guys? Again, they must be developing some of these easy to connect technologies.
Yeah. If they don't have them in there now, then hopefully they will have them soon, because it's very useful.
Okay, good. All right. All right, well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have a look at some of the shows that you've picked from butterscotch.com that you've fallen in love with. We're going to show you one of the shows that one of you picked, and you're going to win a T-shirt. And then after that, we're going to do picture time. Anyway, that's after this.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 25% off today by visiting hover.com/labrats.
Well, we have been saying to you guys, hey, send us in your favorite episode of one of the shows on butterscotch.com that's not LabRats.
Yes.
And we've had a bunch of people send in their favorite episodes, and in an effort to win one of these gorgeous, fantastic Butterscotch T-shirts. And we have our first winner from that contest.
We have our first winner.
Yeah. And who is that, Sean?
It's Corey Starrett.
Okay.
And Corey says, my favorite non-Lab Rats show is The A-List, episode 12. Batman getting pwned is one of the best videos I've seen in a long time.
Oh, great.
And he first found us via the CES 2009 videos, which is nice.
Oh, very good. Yeah, Consumer Electronics Show.
Yes.
Very good. So should we have a look at that? Just have a
Yes,
look at
let's take a
what
quick look. Yeah.
what he is loving and
Yes.
what won him a T-shirt.
Let's watch Batman getting pwned.
And then when we come back, we'll have picture time. So let's have a look at that.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
My favorite superhero has a secret obsession. It looks like he'd rather play video games than save Gotham City.
Come on! Sonya wins. Flawless victory.
This is a side of Batman that we rarely see. Not only is he sitting around playing Mortal Kombat, he's getting his butt kicked by everyone, including Superman.
The B button's broken! Wins. Fatality.
Master Wayne, you've just been pwned.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
Well, congratulations, Corey. You have won this gorgeous T-shirt. So make sure you get in touch with us, and we'll drop it in the mail to you. And you too can win one of these T-shirts by sending your favorite episode from one of the shows on butterscotch.com by sending an email to
Feedback@labrats.tv.
There you go. Good.
And by the way, don't write in to tell me that I said owned incorrectly. I know it's owned. I'm just an old guy. I'm supposed to say pooned when I see that.
All right, and not to be outdone, of course, we still have picture time, and I think we have one picture for today because we're running a little long.
Yeah, we do have one picture this time around, and this is from our viewer, John, in Brisbane. I believe he's 12, and he's here with his family on the beach. This is his dad, Dave, and his sister, Alice.
John from where? Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Right. Oh, and you win a, excuse me, I'm over here. Here, look, this is what I'm going to send you. A sticker book, Lab Rats and Butterscotch sticker book for your picture.
There we go.
Nice, huh? So you too can win a Lab Rats sticker book by sending your pictures to.
Please don't stick these stickers all over everything in your house, or your mom is going to get really mad at labrats.tv.
Or
Feedback@labrats.tv.
very good. All right. Well, thanks for watching this week. We love when you push play and check us out. My name is Andy Walker,
I'm Sean Carruthers.
and we'll see you next time.
Are you ready?
Try this at home.
Five. We're all rolling. 4. We're still rolling. I stopped. 3. We're still rolling.
Hi, I'm Andy Walker.
That was loud.
That was mean.
That was great.
That was fun. We got a reverse shot. It's like the headphones went.